Back to another, I'll say, another Spirits Fist UFC Talk live. We doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it. Obviously, we got a couple of big fights. We got some boxing. We got Bellator today as well, and we got UFC. Um, Bellator got Stotts versus Patchy Mix, which should be nice. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to catch that one. That one's for the Bellator World Grand Prix. That's pretty much the final for them. Um, that fight with Stotts versus Danny Sabatello was pretty big. You had Danny Sabatello actually fighting today, or yesterday technically, which Sabatello won. Sabatello is obviously, or he's a big name or a youngster, but eventually going to be a pretty big name. I'm not going to be shocked if he eventually ends up in the big brand, as in UFC one day, because he's a pretty good talker, I guess. You could say he's Bellator's Kobe Covington, but probably less hated. Um, I mean, I like both, anyways. I'm a fan of the trash talk and all that stuff. I don't know if everybody else, but um, so yeah, you got that. Then you got Davis versus Garcia. I usually don't talk about boxing like that most times, but I mean, I still watch it. So, and this is mixed martial arts to talk about. So we got that. We got Tyson Fury versus Andy Ruiz. A shocker of a fight that got scheduled in a way, because originally it was supposed to be him versus Usyk. That didn't work out because Fury, I think, was asking for too much money, or I mean, Fury was asking for too much money, and then Usyk was asking for a bit more, and all that shit, and so that didn't. That eventually, you know, that was all. Boxing's like that, though. They say they want to fight and this and that, and eventually it becomes nothing. It's kind of stupid, but good thing we don't have that with. I guess it's a good thing we don't have that with UFC, but that's MMA, and that's mainly because of you know everybody's under one thing, um, as in UFC or Bellator. So we usually get the fights, as in the MMA world. So yeah, we got that, and Spence versus Crawford's being talked about. Somebody told me that it was actually already scheduled. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind watching that. That would probably be the biggest boxing match, because I mean they were saying that for a hot minute, that that's going to be the biggest boxing match, but it still hasn't been made, and I feel like the people wanting to watch it kind of dies down, as in just the interest kind of goes away. Kind of goes away, I'll tell you. But I don't know. My interests haven't gone away from that fight, because Bud, even though I watch more MMA, Bud is actually my favorite fighter. I like Spence too, but Bud is the man. Can't fuck around with Bud Crawford. Undefeated, obviously. Um, Other than that, for boxing, let's back to the MMA. We all telling you we got. Other than that, for Bellator, I'm not too sure about any of the other. I don't know if I've actually ever watched any of the other guys fight. As in Gonzalez, um, Charlie or Yancey, or any of the other fighters. I might have, but I'm not sure. That's how it is sometimes. That's how it is sometimes. I tell you what. But let's get back to the UFC 290. A lot of fights were scheduled. Jukis Duplessis versus Robert Whittaker is scheduled for 290, and that's for international fight weight, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I don't know, man. Tank is usually the one knocking people out, but I don't have a favorite in that fight, but I don't know. Tank seems to be in a way. I'm not exactly sure who the favorite is, but Tank is a fucking beast. I've watched more of Tank's fights than. Um, oh, I guess I read it wrong. Yeah, Tank's. Yeah, Tank's usually the one knocking people out, and I have watched. I remember there was a fight where Garcia actually got shook up too. Forget exactly which fight that was, but um, he has been shook. I don't remember if Tank's been shook up before or not. Maybe by Gamboa, but that was a hot minute ago. Garcia actually brought that up too. But yeah, back to the UFC and the fights that have been scheduled. International Fight Week. I feel like this one is much bigger than International Fight Week of last year. This one is, I believe, in congratulations, mate, on your taekwondo. 290. I think 290s. Is it usually in Vegas? Oh, it says T-Mobile Arena, so maybe you're right. I'm not exactly sure. I thought it was. They said it was in Australia or New Zealand or something. I thought that's what I fucking heard. Because they got Dan the Hangman and they got Robert Whittaker, so I thought that would be the case. You got Nico. Is it Nico Price versus who the hell is Nico Price facing? But Jalen Turner versus Dan the Hangman. That should be a. Well, it says right here, 290 just became more stacked. Let's look at the actual schedule, mate. 288. Oh yeah, 288. Bilal versus Burns. That is fucking epicness right there. Oh yeah, Robbie. To be honest, for a hot second, I thought Robbie was actually retired. I don't know why I thought that, but for some reason, I thought he was already out. Who knows? Maybe this fight he might actually be out. But yeah, Burns versus Bilal Muhammad. I don't know. I feel like that fight is a number one contender fight, but at the same time, oh boy, Dana Soft is so. I don't know. Bilal's been on a win streak. He also stopped the Sean Brady hype train. But then again, that fight between him and Leon Edwards, that's the thing. I really don't like. I don't have a favorite in the fight, and I don't really know who I want to win. But I am usually big on the Brazilians, and Burns is, Burns is almost like a lot of people's favorite fighters. I feel like he is. He's one of those fighters that always step up and take a fight and everything. But yeah, Burns is a fucking man. No hate on Bilal either, to be honest, but I feel like this should be the number one contender fight. But obviously the number one contender is old boy Kobe Chaos Covington and Dana White's and Donald Trump's favorite fighter. I'm not exactly sure if he's Dana White's favorite fighter, but obviously Donnie Boy's favorite fighter. My pronouns are sabotage. I was trying to get to 290. Where 290? Where is that at? UFC 289. Amanda Nunes, Julia Pancha, Benel Dariush, Charles Oliveira. That should be also another banger. Another banger. That one should be fucking awesome, I'll tell you what. But yeah, back to 290. Where the fuck? Josh Emmett versus Ilita Poriecha. That one's June 20. A lot of good fights already scheduled. Hopefully, obviously, this shit happens all the time where fights are scheduled and they end up falling apart. But yeah, so far, the four that are actually on the, Google UFC. I mean, I could go to the actual UFC card or whatever. Were you actually at the card or something? Is that why you're saying he was eight minutes away from you? Alexander Pantoja, Branda Moreno, it says that's the main co-main middleweight. Robert Whittaker, Dricus Duplessis, Jalen Turner for a lightweight fight. Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker. That one, I feel like it's gonna be a banger. Oh, really? That's fucking nice. I would have liked to go to the or train at a place where Benel Dariush was training. I might. Then you got Nico Price, Robbie Lawler, but I guess that's it for right now. As of, it's weird. A lot of the other cards haven't even gotten half of the stuff that's scheduled. It's weird. They said that Israel Adesanya wants to have a fight already, or not already, but as soon as possible. But you got most of the contenders already fighting. Oh well, the other thing they said, or Dana Soft done said, the winner of Robbie versus who's it? Dricus Duplessis? Is that what I was? Yeah. So the winner of that fight, he said, this is the number one contender fight, pretty much, or eliminator. So the winner gets Israel Adesanya. Remember, Israel said he's gonna drag Dricus Duplessis body across South Africa, which I don't know if either of these fighters actually is that big of a challenge for old boy Israel Adesanya. I believe that Strickland, for me, just for me, is my personal opinion, is Sean Strickland, for me, is a bigger threat. But to be honest, I don't feel like any of these guys could actually beat him. Obviously, Dricus has some wrestling, but is Dricus' wrestling even better than Marvin Vettori? And we saw what the fuck Israel, the style bender, did to Marvin Vettori. He was literally slapping his fucking ass. I mean, he was literally doing that, which is freaking weird to say. But yeah, he was literally doing that in a fight. That's how, I mean, Israel is obviously, his takedown defense is underrated. I don't know, actually, you can't say it's underrated because it's pretty good takedown defense. So you really can't. I don't know what Dricus Duplessis, in one of those fights, was it against Brunson? He almost got taken out. So there's that. And Brunson's defense, or just all-around wrestling, is really good. But Brunson was all out of it. But Dricus is, I'm not saying any of these fighters are not good or anything, but when it comes to fighting Israel Adesanya, I don't know if these guys can hang with him. Then you got Jan Blachowicz, who is apparently going down to the middleweight division. But I forget, they brought up somebody, him versus one of the, I believe it was one of the contenders. I can't put my name on the fucking name. Or the person they were wanting to match him up with. But obviously, with what Dana White said, or Dana Soft, that wouldn't be a number one contender fight, anyways, or eliminator. But yeah, with all that, that's the July 8th card right there, the 290. I mean, that's already stacked. I don't know what else you would. I think somebody just said Alexander Volkanovski. This is Jair. Is going to be the main event. I believe. I thought that's what I heard. Oh, and another middleweight got two other people that have already fought and have lost to Israel Adesanya. Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier. All these guys obviously wanted Israel to lose that fight with. I don't know. Maybe UFC wanted him to even lose, because then you'd get some new matchups for the title, or just new, just all these guys having somebody else to fight for the title, and maybe somebody like Robert, or I don't know which one of these guys would actually, end up beating each other and actually get the title and all that. Jack Hermanson, Brandon Allen, I didn't even know that was scheduled. So many of these fights have just kind of been brought up in a way. Andre Fiallo, I didn't even know that one was scheduled. Fiallo versus Joaquin Buckley. That one should be pretty nice right there. But back to the card I was actually just pretty much mainly going to be talking about today. Pavlich is Blades. I have Blades winning it. just on one fact, I mean, Pavlich, I was really big on him because he's had I think three or so knockouts, and he's knocked out contenders. Obviously, this is a eliminator. Winner most likely gets John Jones after John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Um, Pavlich knocked out Tua. He knocked out Lewis, even though Lewis has been saying he wants to run that motherfucker back. He said he wants that one back. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy because the heavyweight division is just like that. You just get a knockout. All you need is a knockout. Yeah. Tuivasa, I did just say Tai Tuivasa. And Tuivasa was obviously a contender. Ended up losing to Sirigon, I believe. It's a Frenchman. For the interim, I believe it was the interim title. And I mean, look what John Jones did to Sirigon. He made him. I mean, he just kind of embarrassed the guy. Guy had to end up going and training with oh boy, Habib Nurmagomedov and crew. I believe that was the one. They called him out and they said they didn't call him out. They told him if he wanted to train with them or something. But yeah, Mans has been on somewhat of a hot streak. I believe it's if he wins today, that'll be 4 in a row or 5 in a row. Is it 5? He didn't fight in 2021. 2 wins in 2019. Oh, like the fight against Alastar Overeem. That was the one with the wrestling. Yeah, but yeah, so the wrestling, that's obviously one of the biggest things. Curtis, I believe Curtis beat Alistair and Sergi lost to Alistair. Plus, Curtis somewhat got I guess you could say, win against Tommy Aspinall. Because Aspinall was, was it the ankle or the knee? One of the, who's my favorite fighter? I really don't have a favorite fighter. I'm really big usually on the Brazilian fighters, and just I go with the flow in a way, you know. I'm almost big on everything. When I was a young buck, I believe it was Johnny Bones Jones. But one of my favorite fighters right now is Kevin Holland, just because he, like I said, I don't mind the trash talking and all that shit, and he likes to strike. Bobby Green is one of those fighters. He likes to talk and he likes to, as they say in the fight game, bang. So yeah, anybody that, you know, likes to scrap. I mean, I don't mind watching a technical fight, but everybody's favorite, um, those fights where the fighters, you know, bang it out, you know. Um, Alexander Volkanovski is not a bad fighter, that you know, or a fighter to say that. I don't know how I'm trying to pronounce it or say what I'm trying to say is, I guess, say one of my favorite fighters. Alex is one of those guys. Israel is up there as well. But that's probably everybody would say that kind of stuff. But Kevin Holland, not always a winner, but, you know, he's a crime stopper and all this other stuff, all the other shit he does. As he calls himself, Big Mouth, rocking his Big Mouth chain, and he's also a hero. So, yeah. Kevin Holland would probably be one of the top guys for me, even though I usually do root for the Brazilians, as in Charles, Burns, Costa. I love Costa as well, because Costa, anybody that just has a sense of humor and just likes to talk a whole bunch of shit, and Sean Stricklands of the world, you would think I'd be a McGregor guy, but no, McGregor's cool though, you know. He's probably made it more where fighters like that want to talk shit and you know, be more open with the talking of the shit and joking shits and giggles and all that bullshit. Yeah, okay. Alistair Overeem. It was UFC 225. Damn, that was in 2018, ladies and gentlemen. That was a long fucking time ago, but. You got another, man. This week is pretty good. As in, for some reason, I thought Luke Rockhold versus one of my other favorite fighters from Bare Knuckle. Let's look up BKFC. Man, I can't. I don't know why I'm not. Yeah, Brandon Moreno is a good fighter to, I guess, good fighter to root for. He's always fun and all. He doesn't really talk much shit, but he's just, anytime he's on the mic and all, and just a good all around fighter. So yeah, I'll fuck with Brandon Moreno. Um, but yeah, Luke Rockhold, Mike Perry. Mike Perry's one of those guys too, I feel like there's a good chance Mike Perry ends up, I mean, if he can beat Luke Rockhold, then again, I believe he said that he doesn't know if he wants to come back and do all the fighting and everything. But yeah, BKFC, we got that coming up, and oh yeah, Eddie versus Chad. That's also it's another BKFC card. I have gotten more interested into BKFC ever since Mike Mike Perry ended up on the scene, and Mike Perry he a dog. I was kind of shocked when Mike Perry ended up leaving UFC. I was like, this guy's become one of my favorite fighters, and they just let him go. But then again, he's become more of a star than ever. He beat a guy from Bellator. I forget who the fuck the guy from Bellator is. He's still signed to Bellator as well. I want to say Michael Johnson, but no, not Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, I believe, is with UFC. For some reason, I wanted to think of Mighty Mouse. Oh yeah, and then you got that also. Mighty Mouse versus the Brazilian. That's on. So many big fights coming up. I'm telling you, and all these promotions have big fights coming up. It's not just UFC. It's Boxen, Bellator, PFL 1. Also, Jonathan Haggerty. I haven't actually seen him fight, but he's always coming up. With the, if you watch enough or follow enough MMAs and all these, he's a one guy also. Obviously, one doesn't just do MMA; they do all sorts of, like, I believe they also do boxing, jiu-jitsu, and then they also do MMA. But another thing, oh yeah, I was gonna talk about Bobby Green, Jared Gordon. I don't believe I've ever seen SSP. I mean, I also watch other sports, so sometimes I do get a little bit away from the other sports. Bro. Man. Whatever this guy said. No, mate, I do not agree with whatever you're saying in the comment section. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm not really seeing SSP. Let's see. Okay, SSP MMA. Star MMA? Is that what it is? They have an Instagram page, SSP. Yeah, I've never actually heard this the first time. SSP Fight Night 54 and all ages event. Tickets by now. No, I've actually never heard of this promotion. But hey, it's cool that I guess you know some fighters, lad. Or mate. But I keep going back and forth with Bobby Green, Jared Gordon. One thing about that fight is, or Jared Gordon, well, okay, so Patty Pimblit did say that he wants to run that back. I'm not exactly sure what Jared Gordon actually got a surgery for, or he got a surgery. Not exactly what it was about or anything. But I guess while he was in hospital, as the Euros say, while he was in hospital, he said that he wants Jared Gordon. Patty's kind of been butthurt as of lately, to be honest. He's been Patty the Botte has been butthurt, ladies and gentlemen. He was acting all cool and calm before the whole situation with Jared. Obviously, he had that one podcast with Dana White where he was sucking up Dana White, sucking up as in sucking up to him. Not the wrong way, lads. But he pretty much was sucking up to him, bro. Matt, you need to chill out. Sounding like what's his name? Beavis and Butthead. Show us your thingy. Bobby Green and Jared Gordon. That one should be a good fight unless Jared Gordon, Gordon, not the chef, Gordon the fire. If Gordon decides, he said he's gonna try to bang, he's gonna try and scrap with him. Yeah, I don't think I want to be famous for that. That's not a thing you want to get famous for, bruh. Jared Gordon, Bobby Green, you need to chill. Bobby Green, Jared Gordon. Yeah, that fight should be somewhat epic if Jared doesn't decide to do or go for the takedowns. Then again, Bobby Green's takedown defense ain't too bad, but Bobby, he wants to scrap. Like he said, I don't want to be worshipped, mate. Well, for that is. But Bobby Green wants to scrap, but like I said, Jared Gordon, he might not want to after he sees. I mean, Drew Dober did kind of scrap with him, but then eventually he got caught and knocked Mike the fuck out. I don't believe Bobby Green was knocked out before that. Might have been fighted on it, I'm not sure, but Bobby Green came with $60K to post-fight or pre-fight or the press conference, and he's like, yeah, I want me one of these. And he had some nice-ass fucking shades. I believe somebody else, Dylan Brooks, was rocking similar shades. Bobby had the green shades compared to... I'm not 100 what kind of shades those are or anything, but they're fucking dope, I'll tell you that. But Bobby Green was saying he wants to scrap it out, but he knows Jared Gordon is going to be doing some of that, or try to do some of that wrestling, which I don't know if Jared Gordon should try to do that, because Bobby Green's going to land a lot, and if he lands enough, even if you try with the wrestling and you just can't take Green out, you don't want to end up in the same situation with Patty the Fatty, where, you let the judges decide the win, and Bobby Green is probably going to get the win if he gets enough. Obviously, Bobby's going to land some significant fucking shots. But yeah, we got that right there. I don't know if I got anything else. Oh yeah, Song Yadong. I was actually looking forward to Song fighting again, but that fight was canceled. I believe it's coming up on another fight night. Underrated, man. Underrated like a mug. Shang Yadong. Mans is a beast. He's also become one of my favorites. Just for the reason, Mans like the scalp. So next week's fight night, or April 29th fight night, Kai Bahilio. Hard to always pronounce his fucking name, but that fight should be good. Bahilio, big fan of Bahilio. Rodolfo Barrera or Rodolfo Ferreira. Not sure if I've watched him yet or not. Arman Sarukian, that fight was canceled, so we ain't even gonna get see that. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I got Bobby Green, or I guess he's changing his name to King Green or something, or King Bobby or some shit, or just King. He said that also in the conference. There was more stuff I want to say, but before I go on, I was like, I'm gonna say this and this and that, and I just go off, especially with some of the comments that are always being said, so like shit that that you say, Matt. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching. Follow if you want to, comment if you want, or obviously you can't comment, but I'm gonna be reposting on TikTok, and then I'm going to be posting on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube, and it's gonna, the full thing is gonna be on YouTube. Usually I post the first 10 minutes or so on TikTok, so yeah, check it out, man. You can also go out, follow me on Instagram. I don't do much on Instagram. I post some highlights on Instagram here and there, but y'all enjoy, and thanks for the views and thanks for the comments. Even you, Matt. Thank you.